Not a high C bet for my opponent in terms of range. Versus range, I think I like check back. Turn, I'm going to start, I think, turning this into a semi-bluff. We can apply a lot of pressure to kings, especially kings without hearts. So river's kind of dicey. His range will have a lot of kings with hearts. Some king, king, jack. I think I want to go small to attack his one pair combos. He's never folding flushes. He's probably not folding straights. So I'm not really targeting that part of his range. I'll be honest, I don't expect this to work a lot, but we just never win by checking back. Once we pot, and top pair backdoor spades, I think this makes a really good check back. Definitely turns I can see us calling, but less I can see us barreling. And this player has actually been somewhat passive on turns. So I think this is a little bit close. It's tough because this is a pretty easy card to semi-bluff. It's going to have a lot of weak flushes here. I actually think we do want to turn this into a bluff. We lose to 8x, we lose to hearts. 5, 6, 7 doesn't take this line that often. Nut hearts, so yeah, I was turning nut hearts into a semi-bluff. Do we polarize river? I don't think we do. I don't think our range really supports a polar sizing. Gonna go back and review that though. 3-bet the rainbow aces. And very good flop for us. I'm actually gonna size down a little bit. We doing block 7, 8. I think I do want to. I'm trying to think if I want to blast this off or not. So 6s and 9s don't fold. We fold out 9, 6. That we can get some river value from. 7, 8 doesn't fold turn, but does fold river. And I'm thinking block, given it's now 4 clubs. I do expect to lose sometimes to 7, 8. And versus small raise, I think we're going to 3-bet shove. I check call flop, a little bit too much equity to start turning into a semi-bluff. We don't want to get 3-bet. Go half pot turn, probably 75 on river. Assuming the river does not pair with another 9 or a heart. Like every time I start to get a little bit out of line, we get punished. Honestly, I don't hate just folding here. This plays so poorly post-flop. Not entirely sure if we're defending in theory. 6-4-2 is pretty bad, but we do have ace suit and position. Again, I don't expect these to get through too often, but population does overfold to small river bet sizings. And when the EV of checking back is we never win any money, the EV of betting skyrockets. So this opponent has 3-bet us 28% of the time. Pretty close, actually. Am I slipping in a 4-bet versus someone who's potentially way overdoing it? And flop is not amazing for our 4-bet range. We definitely have some aces with clubs, but aside from that, it's not super stellar. Versus this, we obviously have a fold. If we did get check 2, probably just going to check back, play some turns. Very close to a fold in theory, I think, but so this opponent has a very low c-bet. Looks like they may be getting out of line pre-flop, but post-flop they are a little bit more reserved, a little bit more passive. I like check back. A little bit too medium to bet in my opinion. Don't want to get check raised. It will be tough to barrel spades. We can barrel an 8, but that's about it. For true value, from a range perspective, we can obviously barrel a 7-9, or excuse me, a 7-6 and a 2, but once he checks, he's basically saying top of range is 7-6. Don't think he's going to take this line with sets. And I think by this point, he probably has our spades covered. So I definitely do not want to check back and allow him to see spades. I think this is also a mistake a lot of players make, and I am as guilty as the next. They will look at their blockers on the river, or in that case, their anti-blockers or negative blockers, however you want to phrase it. And they'll think these blockers are just too bad, they block my opponent's folding range, yada yada. But they're not really thinking about how their range has played out to the river. For example, our range has a ton of healthy value bets by that river. I'm gonna limp this. He has a high 3-bet, I want to play this hand. The value of flopping a cent versus this player could be very big. And I expect him to lead here pretty frequently given we limped and we have removed a chunk of ace X from our range, given we have limped. Probably just going to call this down. Everyone act too fast. Always want them to think you are thinking. I think. Sometimes we make more money by playing a bit more passively. We definitely have a reasonable c-bet on this flop, even though it's 2 middling low cards. But again, we just have the worst blockers, and it's definitely not a range c-bet. Going to leverage our ace, king, king, queen, check back, as well as aces. And very interesting flop. So I think still check. If he has any piece of this board, he really should be continuing. It's probably just one of those flops where we just lose too often. Check back, lose, whatever. And I think I do want to raise a little bit of an unusual line, but not entirely sure, to be honest. So we do remove some of his bluffs by raising. And he clearly has shown that he is capable. But I feel like he also might be a bit sticky, so I feel like he can bet call with two pair, kings up pretty easily. Flush draws with a pair, a lot of flush draws in general. So I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we do make more money by just giving him as much line as possible, so maybe that was a mistake on my end. And you're gonna go 3 streets. Don't expect him to turn a queen into a bluff by the river. So if by any point we get check raised, we are probably just releasing. And I'm gonna check back. A lot of his kings with spades got there. We no longer get value from ace queen. I call with a king high suit. Trying to think if we can with a 5 high suit. King 5-5 isn't exactly nothing in solver's eyes. That being said, I will be check folding this combination of top pair. We can check fold some of our weakest. And it is not a big deal. Check back again, no amazing positive blocking effects, no equity to push. We don't attack straight boards. Excuse me, we don't attack straight flops that often. Regardless, given there's no major range asymmetry between both the out of position and in position player's range when it comes to straight flops. There is on paired flops, on mono flops, but on straight flops, not so much. We'll start with the C bet. Turn is interesting, so I think we still want to bet. We have value to get from a king. We could actually check raise. I actually think I like check. So we keep his draws in. We allow him to bet a king, which he should almost always hear. And I think I want to polarize river. I think he will find enough calls with flushes. And with him start betting this, we do have some immediate and future blocking effects. And getting check raised is no big deal. Easy fold. We don't have to sweat burning a lot of equity. And is nowhere near medium enough. 10-9-6-4 triple. These are the flops where there is a major range asymmetry. So his strategy is basically just to bet a blind on these locked flops, okay. Suppose I complete air. I don't see him doing this with an ace. He's more likely to check back, but then again, not entirely sure. I don't want to start blindly raising without any outs. That would be a mistake. So high range c-bet for my opponent, or at least it should be. And for that sizing, we have a call. For half pot, we actually could start folding. And we do not need to continue with all of our top pair combos. Versus check, we check. Versus bet, we fold. Interesting flop. Very interesting flop. I think I like check. We are going to call most turn probes. And we could go a third river pot, squeeze a little bit of value out from his two pair combos. Fives and threes, ace five, ace three. As well as get some value from his straights that we can fold out by the river with a big bet. So gutter heart, no backdoor flush, but a backdoor draw. I think you can definitely see this mixing a little bit. I'm gonna check. Turn's gonna be a little bit better for our range. And I don't think we get to fold here. It's basically saying he has king 10. So if we're calling, we're bluffing hearts. We're value betting, obviously, a 9 plus. And the 9 of hearts is interesting. I don't expect him to take this line too often with 2 hearts. This feels like king 10 with the king of hearts. Alright, let's think about this. Let's hand read a little bit. He can still use a pot sizing, but it's going to be less frequent. I guess I might. This really depends how much he's potting on the turn. River's also very good for my range. I guess fold. If he's potting king high hearts or nut hearts on the turn, if he's using one large sizing for his combo draws, or even his big hands on the turn, that's a really bad call in the river, I think. If he's not, I think we probably need to look him up. The problem is I do not know that information yet, so probably don't want to start making that big of an adjustment yet. I like check back here. We don't have 3 streets unimproved. We can induce turn action, and same deal on the turn. He's not folding a king, he's not folding a 9. We block jack queen. He's also been pretty passive though, so I would argue he probably had it. And just check back. This is just a little bit too thin, I think. Is it actually? Yeah. I feel like he doesn't value bet thin enough. Which, if that's the case, we need to be a little bit careful with how thin we choose to value bet. And I like check back here. A lot of times we don't want to start betting our medium flushes right away. It's tough to get called by worst for 3 streets. Getting check raised is a little bit annoying. And by checking, we get to control the size of the pot a little bit. We also allow our opponent to catch up a little bit more. That can allow them to continue more versus us, which is what we want. So a lot of times we actually make more money by not taking an aggressive action. Gonna range c-bet this flop. Extremely good for our range. Kind of hope he called, actually. I want to take him to the turn of river. Have some fun. 7-8-3-2. The 3-2 is pretty bad. Don't mind limping. We do have an ante in play, so we really shouldn't be folding too much, if at anything, or if at all. And this is straight garbage, but he did act pretty quickly. He also did not raise pre-flop. So given he has somewhat defined his range pre-flop, not entirely, but somewhat, as well as with a timing tell, I think we can take advantage of that. And a little bit loose potentially with the 4-2, but check call. Seems standard. And his c-bet is slowly rising. So something to be very mindful of. Check again. It was basically saying he now has a very strong combo draw with decent blockers, or the nuts. Not sure we get to fold in theory, but I think in practice, I don't really hate it. With 2 flush draws out there. Don't think I hate it. And easy c-bet stacking equity and blockers. Ton of barrel potential. Gonna check turn. And gonna check. He really shouldn't be folding 2 pair on the river here. And we do still beat his busted flush draws. Yeah, he's not folding, nor should he be. So I feel like we did lose the minimum for not making our hand. Don't think I like check raise. I think check call is a little uncomfortable, but it's probably the play. And do we have 2 streets from kings? I think we do. I think if we go small and then river 75, we can extract from maybe king king 4, king king 6, queen queen 6. So at this point, my guess is he's probably turning some nut flush combo into a bluff a6-7. Hey everyone, Tilty Fish here. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content and would like more, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.